r/AskReddit. Vinfluenza says, what is the closest to death you have ever gotten? A fuck says, carbon monoxide poisoning on a job site. The helpless feeling of crawling out of that basement while my body got weaker and weaker is something I still think about often. Crazy dreams and the cheapest high I've ever had, lol. Moonshark34 says, my coworker had carbon monoxide poisoning in her home, and the first clue was her waking up and seeing her cat struggling to walk and acting really weird. Then the other cat. Then woke her boyfriend up and he could barely drag himself out. Somehow it barely affected her, but affected him pretty badly. They both luckily survived. That's some scary stuff and I'm glad you're okay. Edit. The first cat to start showing signs unfortunately passed a few days later. The other cat recovered. Cola Parade says, this is so scary and I'm so glad she woke up and could save everyone. There was a local family where I'm a few years ago who hooked up their generator on during a winter storm and it ventilated back into the house from the garage. Parents, children, and pets all passed away in their sleep that night and I've always found it so haunting that something like that can happen so quietly. A wandering gaffer says, a guy tried to beat my head in with a hammer. Woke up in the hospital with 6 fractured ribs, a broken eye socket, broken finger, collapsed lung, and 23 stitches in my face. I was living on the streets addicted to drugs and came across a John who wanted to kill someone, apparently. Found out later I wasn't the only one he tried to kill. I'm 9 months clean now. Walker43 says, most people don't appreciate how dangerous drug addiction is. Apart from the substance, street life is also dangerous. Well done. I hope you go on to live your best life. A wandering gaffer says, I appreciate that. No name left says, I was dead technically for 19 minutes. Drowned in a pool when I was 2. Parents gave CPR until medics arrived. Pancake009 says, my mom died for 30 minutes while in the hospital. They literally did CPR for 30 minutes and after 10 a doctor wanted to give up and call it, but another doctor refused and kept working on her because to him my mom was too young to die. She's 41. Fortunately, they were able to bring her back and put her on a ventilator. She was in the ICU for 4 days and on the ventilator for 2 days before she was able to be in a normal hospital room for the rest of her stay. Just a week. While she was there they looked for brain damage and none was found. Total Mushroom 2865 says, that is incredible. Kudos to the second doctor that didn't give up. Glad you mum is okay. Regular Throwaway 83 says, I was nearly murdered once, but managed to escape. The thing that struck me was the surrealism that led to a weird calmness at the time. Actually, now I think about it, I had the same sensation when I nearly drowned too. Edit. Details copied from an old comment the last time I talked about it. Long story short, a guy tried to persuade me into an isolated abandoned building, and every time I declined they changed their reason. From cool graffiti to how well preserved it was, until he eventually grabbed both my wrists and started describing in excruciating detail the dead body chained to a radiator inside and what injuries they had sustained. Except he was describing me. He starts dragging me in and drops his carrier bag, and that's when I see what looks like a rusty hammer, rags, and zip ties. I just pretended I was oblivious to the situation and started trying to wave to my friends coming over the hill behind him whilst his hands were still grasping my wrists. Expect no one was coming, but they didn't stick around to check and vanished down the path as quickly as he had initially appeared. I ended up marching back up the path, not looking back, just hoping he wouldn't follow. When I was out of the line of sight I ran to the nearby village. No one was around and my phone had died. I looked for a phone booth but couldn't find a working one. And I knew it was a couple of hours before the first train. So I was trapped. For the next hour I beelined around the streets hoping they weren't lurking and sprinting every time I went around a corner to get more distance. I even went up a few garden paths pretending to look for my keys in case they were watching until the first train arrived and I got out of the area. Nightmares 999 says. Yep. Time slows down. Jealous Stick 621 says. I hate the feeling when it's all over though. You don't think about how scary or surreal everything is till you actually have a moment to think. And then it all hits you, and you just want to cry and scream. r/AskReddit. Striking Court 8835 says. What if your pet could talk, what would it say? 4Jeansin says. Food now. Additional Pie 9235 says. Mom look at me mom, my cat. Isle of Ethos says. Pet me. Pet me. Pet me. Pet me. No, stop touching me. Point why? Did you stop petting me? Fergie 141 says. Meow. I doubt he knows English. Equivalent Delays 97 says. My 13-year-old tomcat would likely have some insightful commentary about the current situations in the Levant and Eastern Europe. Siamese are known to be astute observers of geopolitics. Chickix says. Food, I need food. Sans Baseball 27 says. Work called. They said to stay home today my dogs. Chirk of Abortionism says. What you got? Can I have some? Many Insurance 9683 says. He would probably say that I'm a fool if I can't always understand him. Randomrid 123 says. Why are you feeding me kibble when I see the wet food can? Discombobulata Drub 59 says. To see me is to feed me, here I am. Big Speaker 2538 says. If my cat could talk, I'm pretty sure she'd just demand more snacks and criticize my Netflix choices. Really, another rom-com? Isle of Ethos says. I'm hungry. That's about 80% of my dog's non-verbals. Cannibalistic Vampire says. Mine already talk. Not English, but I speak enough crazy to understand. Food Throwaway says. Mommy let me into your room mommy. Who fun. So many smells. Smell things. Ribbon. Chew ribbon. No mommy don't take me away from the ribbon. You're so mean. It's okay though, once I'm done running away you can pet me again. No, not there, I don't like that space today. Pet me. Pet me. Come on pet me, ooh, but. Eve Lamb says. We are sure all fools to them. No Notice 21 says. You could do better. Little Mayo says. You again when I come home. Bluey Edwin Oaks says. I love you, more food. More cuddles? Play now? Why are you leaving us? Mom. Joe Dog says. Go. Away. Fat man, my cat, Noel, to me. 2024. Mythicatin says. Give me a breath mint, I would hope I kick. Knopping me way out says. Play. 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 More play. Play. And Ugh save me from this obnoxious little shit that has invaded my territory. Do it by giving me cuddles. More cuddles. Cuddles. Permafrost says. I remember all those problems you've been struggling and questioning yourself and said out loud when you were overthinking. Informal Bike 1628 says. I want to go outside. I want to go back inside now. You let inside, but can I go back out? Can you go out in the yard with me? Now that we are out here, can I go back inside? What's that smell? Can you pick me up? Final North 8276 says. Get me my breakfast and water human, do it now chop chop. Future at 5505 says, why are you always crying? Salav is a 23 says, my leg. Romboat says, and here you yell at me when I try to eat a cat, yet you. Luxurious says, I think it's time to feed me. Appointment inside 946 says, nah bro, if my pet were to suddenly talk in human language I'm throwing it out of the house. Opposite equals 7855 says, please mom and dad stop making up stories about me and my brother. Life Forged says, since I only have cats and chihuahua nothing I can say in a SFW post. Gun and Grilla 5995 says, these guys won't just F_CK off, look in that cooler and see if we have any cans of whoop ass left and pass me a beer if there's one. r/AskReddit. Dying 40th says, what makes everyone smile? Wish 1977 says, a dog with its head out of a car window as it's going down the road. Elegant Elysium says, finishing a great book series. Specifically putting the final book down and trying to remember the entire story. The feeling is so similar to reminiscing about real life friends, and it's always kind of pleasantly shocking to me that I can actually care about people who never existed. Chira Cascade says, the feeling you get when you crawl into a bed with fresh sheets. Bonus giggle if the kids are gone and I get to do it naked. Radiant Thorax says, seeing someone smile makes me smile, to be honest. Majmongus says, a gun to the head with the command smile. Positive Espacina G says, cute cats. Baroma Spud says, very niche this one. But otherwise strict or serious worker/figures, breaking character to calm a child or make them laugh. For example, the hard-faced customs officer at the end of a long hotline as we entered Africa last week, who took the time to perform a magic trick when stamping my nervous/scared/tired/upset 4-year-old's passport. Bonus smile was the same officer worked on departures as we were leaving and recognized my son and used a new trick. Number 50 to 50 says, cats. Mr. Snarks says, working the shaft. Elides Ray 123 says, boobs. Smorgen Heckingard says, my daughters laugh. Lockerin says, rain frogs they got butt cheeks, 3. Honey Ed Melody says, getting 7 chicken nuggets when I buy a box of 6. Lover Cox says, my dog licking and screaming and jumping all over me when I arrive home after being away a while. Dogs are the best. Euphoric I 3599 says, boobs. McShigs says, boobies. Fat ass boy says, tits. Ancient and Jessens 02 says, manners. Seeing strangers interacting politely and in a friendly way. Catching a girl looking at me. Spending time with friends. Family. Riadiset Go 0 says, babies laughing that belly laugh. Landsand 7 says, teeny tiny kittens unless you're a monster. Gold Swargeral says, cat. Phoenixtigergeral says, that feeling I get when I make my dad proud makes me smile like a idiot. Bacon Therapist says, bacon. Jamesk Ghost XCIE says, knowing your mom is still alive and every moment should be cherished before that changes. Charkachi Enjoyer says, a laughing baby. Staflersmumskar says, any kind of baby animals. Legitimate Door 627 says, money. Esau says, money. Hold me bro says, happy full families. Keravink says, puppies. It's almost impossible not to smile when you see a playful puppy. Art Cabdal says. A rare and or colorful wild bird suddenly appearing close by for a moment. Butterscotch MT290 says. The laughter of kids playing. Ellen Me says. Love and affection, jokes, babies, animals, good memories, personal achievements, nature, music. Fat Blokey Out Now says. Muscles in the face. Heart and Sleeve 1989 says. Puppy/kittens. Head Tomatillo 9847 says. When dogs look at their owner and just stare because they love them so much. Ruovapus says. Sides or freebie extras or whatever after ordering a meal which came because you were nice. Jim Azeman 1 says. Food. Post-note affection says. Free $100. Anonymous 5055 says. A hug and a fluffy doggo and kitty. Paul Music says. A good doll, obviously consensual, orgasm. Chemical North 90-27 says. Pets. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.